said that leadership is about the capacity to translate vision into reality. And we have seen Honorable Praveen Gedam sir do this throughout his contributions. We had him as Municipal Commissioner in the last Kumbh Mela and Kumbhathon, and none other than him could lead the city as Divisional Commissioner of Nashik today. He, throughout his tenure, has supported innovations and has always been supportive of any new ideas that comes his way. He has also led National Digital Health Mission. We really are privileged as city to have him leading us. I guess he's one of the leaders who has set the bar of the kind of leaders this city and this country needs. So thank you, sir, for being with us today despite your busy schedule. We are really lucky to hear from him today. I would now request you to please come on the stage and address the audience and inspire them. Thank you once again for being with us.
Thank you very much. Namaskar. I understand most of you are from Maharashtra, you know Marathi, but we have colleagues from some other places also, so I'll also speak in English. But just for my information, how many are from Nashik city? Like, okay, most of you. So you need not be told about the importance of Kumbh and all that. I see most of you are very young, so probably you were in early teens in 2015, if I'm not wrong, and might not have seen Kumbh from that close quarter. Anyway, I don't have a presentation because I was like really terribly busy yesterday, so kind of I came here unprepared. So there is no proper structure, so I just jotted down few points on a sheet of paper, which is really a bad way to come and stand on a stage in front of techies. But anyway, sometimes unstructured things can also generate a lot of ideas. So you would probably think what the hell government has to do with the digital world, digital ecosystem. You know, after all, the internet, though it might have been started by one department of the US government, the Department of Defense, DOD, but ultimately what internet and the digital world today is essentially because of private sector and the way they collaborated, developed and scaled up this phenomenal ecosystem. I was born, and when I went to the school, I come from an era where we didn't have like computers, phones, internet is definitely not there. And by the time I passed out of my college, I had not even logged on onto the computer. So we have seen how internet makes changes to the life of people. And when you think of government and digital technologies, probably you can think of routine applications that you make on the government websites, like passport or some kind of certificate or driving license, often with very shitty UI UX, which but you have to apply because it's a monopoly. You can't have option like make my trip or yatra or ease my trip. That's one thing. Or since you are from Nashik, I remember in my earlier role in Nashik, we developed the mobile app for Nashik Municipal Corporation. We called it Smart Nashik, then it got re-christened into Nashik eConnect. How many of you have used it? So quite a few, like almost 15%. So that's all. That's not all, in fact, what government does with the digital ecosystem. Let me explain how. So there is a concept called public good in economics. So what is public good? One has a feeling that everything that is required by people or market can be supplied by entrepreneurs or businessmen. So take the case of transportation industry. You want a car, you have good amount of money, so you buy a Mercedes. You have little bit of less money, you buy Maruti, Suzuki, whatever. But you are provided by some kind of transportation vehicle by some company, because they make a profit out of it and your requirement is fulfilled. But then you need a road to drive on, right? And no company will build that because there is no good way to generate profit. Just for a moment, I'm not thinking about toll roads, etc. But generally, there is no good way to generate profit out of business of making roads. So what we call here the failure of market. This is a well recognized term or concept in economics. The market fails and therefore government has to come, and then government constructs roads. So that is a public infrastructure which is constructed because there is no profit. So we constructed it from taxpayers' money. So that's a public good. The road is a public good. Or to have a good law and order, peaceful society, you have a police machinery, right? Again funded by taxpayers. So it's a public good. That security is a public good. So something like this was done in India, and we as Indians must be immensely. This concept of public good was really taken to the next level in the digital ecosystem by Government of India by creating numerous digital public goods. So the best example quoted by Mr. Dr. Raskar is Aadhaar. We have 1.3 billion biometrics and demographic data together in one server in very secure place, which helps you create so many advantages in the digital world. So you have like a ready system by which you can do eKYC or identifying and authenticating a person, which is so essential. It has, I'll just give one example. Around 2010, 15 years ago, when I was a district collector, we used to take review of how many citizens have bank accounts. And kind of 15, 20, 25%, that was the range in India. And we wanted to scale up this financial penetration because having a bank account is having a unique type of power. And then came the phenomenon of Aadhaar. Earlier we used to, like when you open a bank account, you need to explain you need to prove that, okay, you are actually Praveen Gedam. And how do you do that? It's very difficult, right? Not everybody has a passport, not everybody has a driving license. You go to a random branch manager and tell him, okay, I am so and so. He says, okay, how do I know that you are so and so? It's a very basic problem of identity. But then this Aadhaar happened, and then Jan Dhan that followed. And it helped bring that saturation to almost 85-90% now in a very short period of time. This is a kind of world record that was set by Indian government to create 50, 60, 70 crore new bank accounts in a scheme called Jan Dhan, which was like around 5, 6, 7 years ago. That's Jan Dhan. And then simultaneously we also had a mobile revolution in India, right? Again, I come from an era where we didn't have a landline phone, nothing. Then came landline phone at the neighbor's place. We used to go to that place to receive phone calls. Then mobile phones, incoming 8 rupees, outgoing 8 rupees. So really for ultra-rich people. Then it expanded, and last 10 years we have a phenomenal growth of mobile penetration. That M. So we have like Jan Dhan, J, Aadhaar, and mobile. This is known as JAM Trinity, which has helped create a very robust digital public ecosystem in India. And thanks to it, now this is the base layer which has been created. On top of it, again, government created something called as Unified Payment Interface, UPI. Now, you may be thinking it very casually when you pay 10 rupees to a Pani Puri stall, but it's the system which is very, very unique to India, which is interoperable. Like I was in the US 1 or 2 years years ago studying. So I was not lying when I raised my hand that I used ChatGPT for homeworks, because Professor Raskar was my teacher there and I was a student a couple of years ago. So I actually used ChatGPT to solve some of his assignments. So anyway, so that UPI, coming back to UPI, we are now clocking almost 50% of digital transactions in the world. So we are 1/6 of population, world's population we are 16% or 17%, but we are contributing to almost half of digital transactions in the world. That's something which we must be proud of. And you know why this is possible? UPI works on a very interesting principle of it has created that interoperability. Dr. Raskar talked about corporate network and some other, what was that?
Protocol network.
Protocol network. So you have a corporate kind of system. Again, I was in the US. I used a couple of mobile apps called Venmo and Zelle. So I want to send money from one person to other. Both of us should be on Venmo. Or you purchase something on Amazon or Flipkart. The seller and buyer both have to be on Flipkart, and that creates that network effect, a digital monopoly because of digital silo. And if there is a very good shopkeeper who sells fantastic products, but if he is not on Amazon, he can't sell it, or either Amazon or Flipkart, because it has created a monopoly or a duopoly. So then these players become so big that they start charging 10, 20, 30, 40%. Something like this is happening in Google Play Store and App Store also. So we need to have protocols, like you are tech people, you have HTTP in internet or SMTP for email, which helps Yahoo Mail talk to Gmail, talk to any other kind, Rediff Mail. But this kind of system is not there in digital commerce. And that's why we want to have these protocols which helps Amazon speak with a Flipkart, which can speak with a local shopkeeper who is not on both of these. So this is another thing which government is pushing forward, the interoperability based on protocol. And good example of it is Beacon Protocol and ONDC. You can Google about them. And I was also fortunate to be part of one such system called ABDM, or Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. I remember how government and private sector came together, because peak of COVID wave, this was June 2021 or 2022. And we were in the lockdown, so the Prime Ministers thought it to be a good opportunity to expand this jam trinity and UPI even further. And Dr. Raskar just talked about digital health scenarios. And it's a very, very complicated space. And he said that, okay, you are people from Ministry of Health and some IT tech guys. It was a brainstorming, it went on for almost 2 or 3 hours, and by none other than the Prime Minister of India. And at the end of it, he said, okay, let's have something similar to UPI in the health world. And then this concept of National Digital Health Mission, which is now known as Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, ABDM, it emerged out of that discussion in June 2022. And then he said, okay, can you make it in 2 months? You know, imagine the stiff deadlines. And some of us nodded, okay, we'll try, and something like that. He said, okay, make it in 2 months so that I can announce it in my Independence Day speech from the Red Fort. So that's how we were kind of pushed, and then we quickly cobbled up the team together, private sector, government sector, the same team which helped formulate UPI, and what is known as ABDM was created. Now you may not understand its significance easily, because banks are already highly computerized, hospitals are not yet computerized, and we have different set of challenges, because we have like one doctor who has to see 50, 60, 100 patients in a day, and he really don't have time to type the luxury that I saw in the US, where a doctor and his script, he's an assistant who types on the laptop whatever he says. But imagine if all such data is digitized in hospitals, decentralized data. Again, you can't have a centralized server because there are issues of privacy, security, etc. And they start talking to each other. The information keeps flowing. You need a digital identity, which was like kind of optional, unlike Aadhaar, because of some legal reasons. So we said, okay, let's create digital identity. So out of that thing came out a concept of Ayushman Bharat health account. I'm very happy to say, while coming here, I checked on my mobile, dashboard.abdm.gov.in, or you can click on that. It's a public dashboard. 60 crore plus, that's or 61 crore plus Indians now have created their health account. Many of us don't know. It's almost 50% of India's population, which helps connect these disparate digital ecosystems at one point without storing the data, so that with digital consent, again very unique concept, digital consent manager, you can pull the data from several these disparate systems and present a longitudinal health record. And I also saw number of health records linked. So far we have linked 41, 42 crore something health records to this, because people are not yet linking. Probably slightly, unless all the hospitals get computerized, this system probably will not show its effect on the ground, but something like this has been done. Then there is another level, totally a different field, agriculture. So I was also fortunate to be part of that team in Delhi and also as Agriculture Commissioner of Maharashtra. We have a great institution in Nashik called Sahyadri. We have another great institution here which came out of last Kumbhathon, that is Digital Impact Square. And these two are now kind of working together. I saw their logos here. And I think this is the place where you can really have good agri-tech startups. So you imagine a data in government, there is something known as peak pahani, or you create a record of what kind of crops are sown by different people in different seasons, like rainy season, kharif, or winter, rabi season. And you imagine the humongous data that have this particular plot number or a survey number has this particular crop, and we have a photograph of it which is getting clicked regularly. And you know the crop of say soybean or grapes, its photos are getting captured. Then simultaneously you also have another data that is real-time weather data. So you have, I think, for every district, for Nashik district, around maybe 100 or 150 automated weather stations which is capturing 24/7 weather data, rainfall, temperature, wind, etc. And this figure is going to get increased to every single village having one such station in next 2 or 3 years. This project is underway. So that's another huge data. You think of one more data, that is soil health. Your soil has NPK, all those basic components which plant requires, potassium, phosphorus, nitrogen, plus some other relatively less important like selenium, calcium, so on and so forth. That rich data is also sitting somewhere, that soil testing data. And if you start using all this data together, then you can probably have an AI-based system. I have seen a few of them in pilot stage, which can predict a particular crop getting infested with a particular disease, so that you can intervene at the right time. We have another problem Nashik people are aware of, fluctuations in onion prices. So if you have a proper data set of what quantity of onions are going to be ready for harvesting in this particular month, what is the total storage capacity of the system, what are the prices in different cities and different countries, then probably a farmer can become he will have that power to decide when to release his onion into the market. So all these are very interesting startup ideas, and we have like 1 lakh plus startups in India right now. But I think agri and health, these are the spaces which are to be seen for further exploration. We have done phenomenally well in finance, logistics, travel and tourism, these startups. But I think these are the more complex ecosystems which also can be looked into when you think about the next role of government is, I think, trust. Because if you want, say, health tech startup, the Practos and 1MGs, they offer this teleconsultation. Before they onboard a particular person, as a doctor, they have to verify that the guy is actually a doctor. Because otherwise I will go and register myself. So I'm MBBS doctor, so I can do that. But still, let us say I go and say I'm a neurologist, which I'm not. How does the Practo identify me? He has to send a person or write to my medical college or university. This costs around 5,000 to 6,000 rupees as onboarding, that expenses to onboard one doctor. So if I have a registry of doctors which is maintained by government, and I open the APIs and allow everybody like Practo, NMG or any other startup like yours to interact with that and fetch that data in the real time, that cost of onboarding is reduced and that entry barrier is reduced. And if you provide a better product than Practo, you will soon just go ahead of that particular health tech startup, and ultimately you will not waste your precious time, money and energy in verifying the person's identity. So all these roles, I'm trying to say, are the role which can be played by the government. And I'm very happy to say one more thing, that the government is doing it largely in collaboration with people like you. So it, like any other company, it also opens, the government of India also opens a particular GitHub page, starts writing a code in open source, and you guys can then fork it out and then develop those codes even further. So this is how government works in India. So coming to second part, so this is a digital public good. Now other thing which exciting opportunity which the Kumbh Mela and government is going to provide is 2027 Kumbh Mela. You also saw the crowd management, right? It was the first time ever, and I don't know if you have seen old movies of Bollywood. The Kumbh Mela is invariably associated with two brothers who are separated in Kumbh Mela. One becomes a police officer, guess what, other becomes some kind of criminal, and in the final scene they come together, fight with each other, their mother comes and whatnot, all kind of scenes. So last Kumbh Mela was probably the only Kumbh Mela. We have Kumbh Mela every 3 years in India, every 12 years in Nashik. And how many people? The peak day, I remember, we counted those numbers from mobile cell tower locations. They were like 4.5 million something people additional over and above Nasik's population, 45 lakh people. And not a single case of missing in the whole season. So this is the power of technology. Now we have listened from Chris, right, about advanced tech he is using in Olympics and the various kind of flow. I think you have a real good opportunity, because go to any Olympic or FIFA World Cup, you don't have 4.5 million people in one day. So I think you have a great opportunity here to test your model. This is a good sandbox, right? And you can see the flow. You discussed about so many types of flows. You can see the flow of crowd here on that particular day. And I remember seeing it, physically sitting on the top of tower and checking my mobile, etc. We also were discussing about flow of water. How can we use the rich data that government has? Because we have a database of on GIS, the X, Y, and Z axis of this Nashik district, the topography, we have a database of rain stations, we have a database of rivers, dams, how much was the capacity of each dam, and then probably you can think of a model in which you can predict the rising water levels of Godavari river in next 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, because this is another problem, the flooding and all that we have to be ready to be, for tackling with. So somebody from the back mentioned about health screening. Last time we think something like epimetrics or something, right? Where what kind of symptoms are being reported in different places. And very unique things come out. 2003, you know what unusual symptom came out? It was conjunctivitis. Why? Because everybody goes and take dip in the Godavari river, it gets polluted and then eyes get infected. So it's a very good tool to test your technologies and ideas. We are going to have soon going to launch a competition of how to develop. So this is not exactly tech, kind of artistic. How to develop ghats of Godavaris to make them even more beautiful. Maybe you can use popular AI tools like Midjourney and whatnot to think of how to beautify the city. So the opportunities are really, really endless, right? Mr. Bohra talked about this as a spiritual tech, right? Spiritual tech. You have a spirituality, Kumbh Mela, Ramayan, then Vipassana at Igarpuri. Then you have technology, because of thanks to Dr. Raskar, MIT, and all you people. And I was asking Dr. Raskar what that triangle means, right? So I think we can define that triangle as spirituality, technology, and there is one more vertex which is remaining. So let's call it fun. Let's have fun and make this Kumbhathon a fun experience. You know, spirituality, spirit. Spirit also means C2H5OH, ethanol. We call it also known as wine. So we are wine capital of India. So you can say that cheers and have fun and make this triangle complete by blending spirituality, technology, and fun. This is going to be a very exciting journey over next 2-3 years. I saw the goal you kept was August 27. I think we have to prepone it by maybe 1 or 2 months because we have to do ground testing of whatever technology solutions you are going to develop. Anyway, this is an exciting journey. I am very happy to be back in Nashik after a gap of almost a decade for next Kumbh Mela to work with you young, energetic crowd. And I hope to see you very often coming out with various ideas which can help government, not only government, but society and our country and our city. Thank you so much. Which plant requires.